Hello there. Little video I'm putting together just in terms of how to top up grip. People have asked me about this quite a few times, so I thought I'd just put this together as I top up the grip on one of my own mats. So for doing this job, you need somewhere to do it, obviously. Nice flat worktop such as this. You need some sealant. The stuff that I tend to use pretty much exclusively now is this stuff. This is, sorry, I'll just get some light on that. This is Sikaflex 11 FC. That's Fast Cure Plus is what the FC Plus stands for. And actually this is a very nice fast curing sealant. I don't use Volcom anymore. Have done. Volcom works really well. But actually this has the benefit of going off a lot more quickly and also not having that horrible toxic Volcom smell. Very low VOCs with this, which is good news for you, your lungs, your brain, and obviously the environment as well, minimising the impact as much as we can. So you need your sealant, which we've got there, and then a spreader. Now this in the UK comes from B&Q, which is a DIY store or a hardware store, depending on what you call them. Now this is a nylon spreader. You can get them from anywhere. Is kind of a smooth plastic. The beauty of using these is that actually once you've finished the job, you put this somewhere to dry. Once the sealant's dried, it won't get any kind of bond to this because of how smooth it is, so that it can't get any kind of key at all. And actually what you do then is you can just peel it off nice and easy, so you can use these over and over again. So a pack of 2 of these will last you a really long time, and certainly if all you're doing is topping up grip, then it should be all you need. And then you need masking tape, and particularly the thing to look for is the size of the gaps between the strips of grip on your mat. These are always kind of applied and masked off. Standard sizes, in this case I need 1-inch tape, and then I've got some 2-inch tape just going around the outside. So we'll talk more about kind of the stuff with the sealants and everything else in a bit. I mean, really, it's not a job that you have to do very often, but it is a job that you have to do sometimes in terms of maintenance. This grip here has been on probably for about 3 months or so. I ride my mat probably 3 times a week on average, so it gets plenty of use, and like I say, kind of probably 3 to 4 times a year I'll just top up the grip a little. This is a 70 denier mat, slightly heavier decks probably don't need it quite as much because the deck material kind of helps out a little bit more with grip. This is 70/70, so very light. So first job first is the actual masking, and really you only need to mask the area that you're going to grip, so you don't need to mask off the whole mat. And the key thing to make sure that you do is to actually get in flush to the edge of the existing grip. So we'll just get this this taped up. Okay, so once you've got the kind of end-to-end masking done, then the next thing you need to do is actually tape off the either end of where you want to do. It's really worthwhile kind of following, it doesn't matter what the system is as long as you've got one. The one I've got that works for me, so I would recommend it, just because, like I say, I know it works for me, is go lengthways, then do these. And when you come to take the tape off afterwards, take off the ends, then do lengthways. The reason for that is actually if you forget the order that you've put things on, then when you start putting it off, you can end up putting a bit of tape and then another bit and then another bit, and all of this has got sealant on it and it can end up being a real mess. So just taping over now, like I say, the end edges. Nice easy straight masks. There we go. And actually, here's something else you can do. Is that at the end of the tape, you can sort of, I can't really see on that one. You see on this one, when you put the end of some tape on, I'll do it here, you can fold the end, and then when you stick it on, you actually have a little tab which you can grab hold of to pull the tape off afterwards. Because there's nothing worse when it's covered in sealant and you've got rubber gloves on, trying to get the end of a bit of tape off. Now you'll see as well, I'm not going to bother taping up here because I know that I'm not going to be putting grip up past about here, so I've gone up further than I need to. Just on the G logo there, I don't know if you can see it, but I will just put a bit of tape just across here, just to make sure that I don't overshoot the end. With the Sikaflex, when you're topping this up, if I was to do a whole matte grip job, then I would use almost the whole of one of these tubes. So obviously for topping up, you're only going to use small amounts. Now, like I said, I'd probably do 3 to 4 top-ups per year on one of my mats. Maybe a little bit less than that. Let's average it out, sort of around 3 to 4. Now, when you're using these tubes, they're kind of about £10 each in the UK, and kind of, you know, obviously equivalent prices elsewhere. In terms of using the nozzle, when you first take it off, there's a hole in there. So for the first top up that you get out of the tube, you can just use this as it is. When you've finished, stick a bit of tape over the top. Now, some of it will go off in the nozzle, but what you can do then is get a Stanley blade. You can actually trim it off, and you'll find kind of unset sealant kind of further down for the next time, so you can use that to grip the next time. The time after that, it will probably have gone off the rest of the way through, but if you take it off, you'll actually be able to kind of get some straight out of the end of the tube there, using the gun. And then after that, you know, stick some tape over there again, it'll go off in there. But what you'll find is that actually putting this into the gun and kind of squeezing the trigger so that it's tight and applying some pressure. If you then get a Stanley blade, you can just actually puncture the outside of the can and give it a squeeze. Some of the sealant will come out and you can use it, just kind of scrape it off and just apply it in the same way as you would normally. So you can get 4 top-ups out of 1 tin, so that's a year's worth for a tenner. So, you know, it's not that expensive at all. So first thing is actually getting into the top of the tube, and the easiest way to do that, get the nozzle, stick it on top, and let me just move the camera a second. Stick it on top and bash it in. There you go. Job is, as they say, a good one. Right, so pull that out. As you can see, there's a bit of sealant on the end of there. So screw that on. And put it into the gun. Now, what you don't need to do is to be squaring this directly onto the mat. All you need is to squeeze a bit of the sealant out of the end onto the spreader. Okay, and be careful where you put the gun down. Personally, if I'm doing a grip job, I put it so that the nozzle, or the barrel, if you want to sound dramatic, is actually over something that I'm going to be putting some of the sealant onto anyway. So here we go, just starting here. Make sure the edges of your tape are actually kind of flush and fixed down, and then just spread a bit on. Now it doesn't have to go on thick because you're only topping up. So there's a good base layer of sealant anyway. So you're just putting some on top for the purposes of texturing, stippling up, to just bring back the grippiness. Okay, so that's that spread. Now I'm keeping the gun loaded because it might be that actually I find that there's a bit that I've missed or needs a bit more sealant. You know, this stuff's all the same colour, so it's not always easy to see. Now, in terms of texturing, there's various ways of doing that. Dale Solomonson, the man who used to make pneumatic mats, would use a sponge. Personally, I prefer using a nail brush. I find that it gives much more of a kind of fluffy texture, so it doesn't give the same kind of sticky feeling that you'd sometimes get using the sponge method, and actually it gives you more of a like I say, kind of more of a, I don't know, kind of almost Velcro-y feel. So it feels like you're kind of held on without being sort of glued on in the same sort of way. But anyway, so here we go. So it's just stick it in like that. And I might just stick a bit more sealant just around this tail area, just to really texture it up. There we go. So in terms of taking the tape off, this is where these tabs come in useful. Just grab the tab, pull that, and there we go. So it's just, like I say, just taking the tape off in reverse order to what you put it on, and make sure in preparation you've got something to chuck your rubbish into beforehand, because this stuff gets everywhere if you don't. So just get all the crossways strips off first. And last of all, don't need gloves on. You can certainly take one off anyway. What I tend to do when I'm taking the grip off, take one glove off so I can get onto the tape, leave the other one on in case I need a hand to kind of deal with any kind of sellotape and actually put it into the bin that I'm throwing it away from.